It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes. Yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews, you never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
We are live here on Beyond the Headlines for this very special edition, as we have a talented young man beside me whose accomplishments and career speaks for itself. But in case you don't know, we've got Marquette King, Marquettes for some of you, depending on how he's introduced himself, who has played in the NFL. He's played with the Broncos, the Raiders. He also plays in the XFL, and he's joining us today on Beyond the Headlines to shine a light on what's going on across the league. Hello, I'm happy to have you here.
I appreciate you for inviting me on the show. It's such an honor.
I'm happy to have you here and have a chance to talk about what needs to be talked about. But first, I actually noticed something, and I know we just met, but apparently we're on the same wave, because if anybody paid attention to our image coming into the show compared to now, we both kind of switched up a little bit. Actually, that image has me looking the same, but blonde hair don't care, apparently, is the Rona move. Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. I had to switch it up a little bit.
You don't got to mix it up every once in a while. Yes, yes. Yeah. So I actually want to get into something before we even start talking about your career that was very interesting that we were talking about before the show. I just think a lot of people are unaware of being Black in America and a lot of what that comes with. So we're going to dive right into it. The fact that you told me people call you Marquettes, but also that's not really your name. That's not your birth name. You actually introduce yourself like that to people because for some, they may understand that more than others. So can you tell us a little bit about what's that about?
Some people can't pronounce it. So sometimes it's Marquette, sometimes it's Marquette. So it depends, but it's also depending on how I act too. So if I'm a little more quiet, it's Marquette. But if I'm talking, I'm hype, it's Marquette.
Oh, it's like your alter ego? Okay, Marquette, like Sasha Fierce, you're giving me?
I knew he was going to say that.
I had to. That's like the first thing I think of course. But, you know, the incredible thing that you just touched on that's so minor but so major at the same time is the fact that we sometimes in this world have to have not even just two, but multiple masks that we wear and multiple evil, depending on the people we're dealing with. You talked about growing up. For teachers, you were Marquettes, but you really are Marquette. You know, that's your real name, but having to kind of change how we talk, how we act, how we go about our daily lives sometimes to fit the environment that we're in. And I think it's a great transition getting into the fact it's Black History Month. And you have been actively speaking on the lack of diversity in the NFL for specific sectors. So before we even get into that, for those that don't know that the fact that there are only 5 in the history of the NFL that have been Black punters, take us through your journey. Getting into the NFL, you were a punter that everybody enjoyed watching. I loved watching you play. You were hype, you were exciting, you brought some flair to the position that we really didn't see, you know? So take us through that moment. You get drafted to join the Raiders, and you are coming into the NFL, and your name is called, and you're like, this is it. This is the moment I've been working for. Take us back.
Yeah, man, you just walk out on the field. I thought Shane Leckler was gonna come out there and punt because I couldn't believe I was gonna be the first to punt the ball in the game. So when we were playing the Cowboys in preseason, my coach told me not to look in the stands, and what's the first thing I do? I look in the stands and walk out there, and I'm just looking at the ground because I feel like the more I look at the ground, the more real it feels instead of like just looking around because the ground is the closest to me. So walking on the field. As I'm walking, I stand back there and I'm getting ready to punt. And I'm still kind of jittery because I'm like, man, all right, this got to be my best first punt. I mean, even though I'm playing in the game, like punters get between 0 and 10 punts a game, so or more. So standing back there kind of jittery. And then one of the dudes on the Cowboys like, that's a Black punter. This is a fake. So that kind of shifted my mindset, and I was no longer like anxious anymore or nervous. I just started laughing because I thought it was funny. But yeah, after that, I just relaxed and just blasted the ball.
So who said that?
So it was like a linebacker on the other side on Dallas.
What?
That was funny. It was so
That
funny.
that's sad but funny but ironic, but so many different things at once. So they made the joke thinking that because you were a black punter, it was not really going to be, you weren't actually going to punt the ball.
Mean, a lot of people aren't used to it. It's something that's definitely different. Like most players that play in the league or just play different positions are mostly black. So I knew it was something different because it's not a lot of black punters out there.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you want to be a punter in the first place? You know, I'm sure that growing up, being that there have only been 5 in the NFL, I'm sure those numbers are just as low across youth football and Pee Wee football and at Pop Warner and everything else. So, you know, for you growing up and sticking to this position and not only do well in it, but reach the highest level, I'm definitely curious to know about what that journey was like as a punter in a position where there weren't many that looked like you.
Yeah, punting was more therapeutic for me. Like I used to do a little receiver and stuff, and that was fun. At the same time, you get tired of running routes by yourself. Like a lot of kids didn't go outside and play as they got older, so I would just go out there by myself, set cones up, and run routes. But then eventually I got so tired of it to where I just started kicking, and I would just keep kicking. You remember when we had the cassette players, and I would record tapes and put it in there, put it on my hip with my headphones, and just kick until my leg just got tired. And it was more of a therapy thing because I got a chance to just kick and just think about life and just think about all the stuff I got going on, and just think about how good I really wanted to be at it.
Wow. Cassette players, you're taking us back. But no, I definitely cassette. But I used to have an incredible playlist. Let me tell you, on my CD player back in the day, and then my iPod, and then that became your phone for pre-games and everything. But it is incredible. I know for me, I always can relate to the fact that playing soccer as a black girl was so challenging, and oftentimes you were the only one. So it is, in a sense, therapeutic. It becomes your outlet to the point that you don't even realize I'm the only black face here. I'm the only black person here. So getting into the NFL, you know, the fact that the first black punter was in 1977, and think about the longevity of the NFL. Here we are in 2021, and we still have only had 5. And you actually do know the first black punter, I believe, Greg Coleman, relatively well.
Yeah, Greg Coleman's one of my really good guys. He's one of my really good friends. Yeah.
So tell us about the bond that almost has been forged because there have been so few. Do you feel as though each black punter has kind of helped the other one out? Have you had, you know, an opportunity that you talk about the relationship there to connect and talk through any experiences you've had and share with each other and things like that?
It's definitely cool because Greg Coleman, I got connected with Greg Coleman through this guy, Glenn Holmes. He was the receiver coach for Fort Valley State at the time. And he connected me with Greg Coleman. He was like, it was another black punter used to play in the league. His name Greg Coleman. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of cool because I never heard of another black punter like that. Everybody would talk about Reggie Roby, but to actually know, like, do your research and know that this is the actual pioneer of that position. Like, he was the one that opened the door for a lot of us. And shout out to Greg Coleman. He came to my first game, my first game of my last season at Fort Valley State. He showed up to FAMU. He actually flew out to FAMU and came to watch me while he was working with the Vikings organization, which was super cool. It wasn't my best game. I was really disappointed because I really wanted to impress him. But the fact that he came out there and he encouraged me to keep going, like, it's just one game don't make a season. One game don't make one play don't make a game, one game don't make a season. It's a little saying. And it just lit me up. It just created a fire in me and just kept me motivated. And yeah, that's how we connected. And we just stayed in contact since my senior year of college.
Wow. And I like that because, you know, representation matters. You do have to have people that look like you that are able to connect with you differently. I mean, each person, regardless of their background, has a different way they connect with you. So to have someone that's been in your shoes or can at least relate to being in the skin you're in, that is important, you know? So I can't even begin to wrap my head around it until I saw your post like a week or so ago talking about it with the undefeated. And it didn't hit me until then. I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't really know that many punters, that are Black, that are minorities.
Yeah.
And we always talk about diversity across the NFL, specifically with coaches, coordinators, head coaches. But we forget the fact that look across positions. I would love to see a breakdown of the racial and just even diversity in general across all positions, aside from like receivers and running backs. We're getting more Black quarterbacks, but other positions like punters, kickers. So, for you being one of the few, you're in an elite crew. How do you really try to embody that, but look to use it to help expand and make it so we can get to number 6, 7, 8, 9, hopefully beyond that?
Yeah. I wasn't really thinking about it when I was in the game playing. When I was playing, I was just kind of in the moment, and which I live my life, but I just believe in living in the moment, enjoying life, and having fun. But when things didn't work out in Denver, and I had a whole season, rest of the season to just sit back, I kind of went like through a little dark spot, and it just kind of forced me to sit back and think about all the things I've accomplished and where I'm at, just gauge everything about my life. And that's when I started coming to a realization, like when you're not really doing nothing, I go back in my messages and stuff, and I see how many minority punters just reach out, and even Hispanic, Black, just different, all kinds of different minorities. So it was kind of cool. It's like, dang, like I kind of got caught up in just staying so focused and playing ball and stuff, and these people have reached out. So it was kind of cool to see the kind of impact that I created doing it.
Yeah, it is incredible when you don't really realize the value of your platform and who you are until you almost are removed. I think that's something like you almost every once in a while you have those moments where it's kind of a step back, where you realize just how much you are making an impact. Especially, I'm sure for you get caught up in playing, you don't really realize that until people start reaching out and are, making note of it. So I can't even imagine how much you may have even forgotten the fact that you are one of 5.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. I'm in a blessed place. Definitely a blessing. I got a couple of young bucks that reach out too. Corey Carter, Presley Harvin, who just won the Ray Guy Award. So he's doing his thing.
Yes. Well, you were a punter, like I said before, that brought flair to the position. It was exciting. You had like a little more swag to you, and of course, I hate to say it, but that's part of being one of the only few Black punters. You brought some Black culture into the position. You diversified in that way. But I mean, it was entertaining when you were with the Raiders. I think back to that group. You guys were one of my favorite teams to watch because of the fact that it was like you guys enjoyed playing. You saw the excitement. You saw the hype, how hype you guys were. You guys were just kind of like vibing off of each other in that sense.
Yeah.
And it was it was a fun atmosphere to watch how it unfolded. Injuries aside and everything else aside, it was a team that you rooted for, even if you weren't truly a fan. So, exactly. I mean, what was that swag? What do you bring to the field aside from being a punter, aside from your great form and consistency?
I mean, I think I bring just enforcing that people should remain to be themselves no matter what. If you feel like you got to fit a certain type of mold or act a certain type of way, especially when you're playing a kids game, then it's not really as fun. The fact that you got to go in early in the morning and work from sun up to sundown, or stay in a facility all day and work on trying to perfect certain things that happen when you actually play the game, you should be able to celebrate that because you actually put work into it. And shout out to the Oakland Raiders organization, or the Raiders organization. That organization was they were different compared to a lot of NFL teams because Al Davis was one of the guys, and RIP to him. And man, he had it set up to where he brought diverse people. Like he had different kinds of people just doing different things in the organization. They were just opening and accepting to like different cultures, different people. So that was a cool thing about them.
I mean, I just love that in your story when you look back to your career. What some of the biggest things that you've touched on, and even having had a game that you bring up that you didn't play well in, and from Fort Valley State to being undrafted to having an opportunity to have your name called to then turn into the league in punting yards. You know, you defied a lot of odds. I mean, to also, as we're talking about diversity, being one of 5 Black punters. So, you know, I think that something so great is the fact that you didn't go to an Alabama or Clemson or something. You weren't a first round pick. You weren't someone who's flying across everybody's radar. But then you when you had that opportunity, that when you stepped in that preseason game and moving forward, you made every moment count. You made it so that you had to stay on the field. You know, so I'm definitely curious to know more about kind of your rise in the NFL, going from being undrafted and just having an opportunity to killing that opportunity and being able to take that next step in your career to lead the league.
Well,
take us through that.
Thank goodness I didn't go to a huge D1 college. I feel like going to Fort Valley State, Fort Valley taught me a whole lot when it came to not having the best equipment, whether it's a weight room or the best practice fields to be on. It just created this little chip on your shoulder. I don't care if you did teaching major, journaling, or even if they had an astronaut program on campus, they didn't have what D1 colleges probably had, but it forced you to work with what you got. And even the practice field we had, it kind of went uphill a little bit. It was kind of rocky, a lot of dirt patches and stuff. So I had nothing else to work on. So like I would just keep practicing on that field. And the funny thing about it, when I got to a point to where I was with other people, especially at bigger colleges that had everything they had needed, like I was so used to working on the field where everything wasn't right, like working in the weight room where the weights probably weren't the best, to where I was really good at whatever everybody else was doing because I had to work 10 times harder.
Bingo. You know, it is something to be said about not being given things on a silver platter when you have to work for things, when you're not just put in a position where you're on a pedestal, but you've got to climb up to that top of that pedestal and figure out a way to show that you belong and bring all those characteristics you learn along the way to be able to kill it once you do get there. You know, but I still, for the life of me, and I know people were even commenting this on social media, why are you not in the league? I mean, it's such a basic question, but it's such a complicated answer, I'm sure, you know, and I'm definitely curious to know how and what injuries I know played a part in it, but share as much as you'd like, of course, but what really do you feel like, since there's 3 sides to every story, I'm curious to know your side.
Not gonna lie, it's been a pretty big struggle somewhat. Definitely feel like I belong in the league statistically. I've seen people before that haven't been in the league and have gotten another opportunity before, but it is what it is. My mom said I never give up. I manifest and things happen, which I've been manifesting. But man, I've always questioned that too. I'm always like, sometimes I'll talk to God and I'm like, man, why do I got to go through this journey? Why is my journey a lot different? The fact that I had to go through what I went through then when I was in Denver, and got to go through the XFL just to prove myself again that I can do it and prove myself, and still chilling at the house. So I don't know. It can be so aggravating. It's so aggravating sometimes to where, I don't know, I just find other fun stuff to do to just take my mind off of it. And then when I go back to football, I go back to football. But I don't know. I just make sure I continue being myself, staying true to who I am, and enjoying life and making an impact with people, whether it's kids, grown people. Like I just continue living life and trying to be a light.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've been blackballed in this sense from the NFL? Do you feel like you were wrongfully put out of the league in that sense and not given the opportunity? I know you went from the Raiders to the Broncos. And again, I have vivid memories of, as you mentioned, statistically, you know, so again, share whatever you'd like. Don't feel pressured. Do you feel as though you weren't given the chance that you deserved, or that there was more to it that you could not control?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the best thing I can do is just keep living. I mean, like I said, statistically, I feel like I still belong. So I don't see myself playing anywhere else but the NFL. My main focus is to continue working, and I'm sure things are still gonna work out regardless. That's all you can do. Like, we can only control what we can control.
Absolutely. Amen to that. And things don't always make sense. I like, ironically, was just having this conversation with a friend of mine about, like, things don't always make sense in the moment. They're confusing. There's challenges, but at the end of the day, it's already won. Whatever is supposed to happen for you, whatever is destined to come your journey is already done. It's just a matter of stepping into that. So, you know, I'm curious to know, kind of looking back on your experiences with the Raiders and Broncos, playing it in the XFL, you know, what really have you learned about yourself, about what you're capable of through these experiences, having been through all the ups and downs of being a professional athlete?
Man, one of the main things is you can't control if people like you for who you are. You can't control how people see you, because you can do the nicest thing in the world and people will find a way to see something bad about it or say something negative about it. So the best thing you can do is to continue being yourself. If whoever is meant to be attracted to you, they're going to be attracted to you. One of the main things about being in the XFL, as much as I didn't want to go and participate in the XFL, I did it. It was a struggle to get into it because, like I said, I felt like I belonged in the NFL. But going to the XFL, I would have never thought. It helped me find even more happiness and more passion. So it helped me find more happiness, more passion. And shout out to the city of St. Louis. Like, those fans out there show so much love, and I'm super thankful for that. And it just, even sitting back, made me want to make even more of an impact with people. So when I was playing with the XFL, the fans showed so much appreciation. If the league would have lasted longer, I would have hung out with more fans. But me and one of my homeboys, Taylor Russolino, the kicker, I was like, man, I'm bored. We had a day off, and I was like, man, let's go find a fan's house and let's go barbecue with them, tell them to bring some friends over. And we did exactly that. So I think what I went through just taught me to continue making an impact and being a light, and I don't know, continuing to show people to be themselves, because when you're not yourself, it starts to bother you.
Yeah, I know that's right. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to be someone else. You can't try to be someone else, because it's going to be happy. You're going to be trying to walk someone else's shoes and their path, whereas at the end of the day, you're going to realize that's not for you. So I really understand all of that you're saying. And I'm curious to know, do you have a defining moment? You talk about the way that fans really welcomed you in St. Louis. Do you have a moment that you recall in the NFL and then also in the XFL that was like a defining moment? Really were like, wow, that's a real moment of like, this is actually happening. I'm here.
Man, I think when I was in the NFL, I was just kind of like, because I used to have real bad anxiety. So, like, I would have to find a way to turn into like an alter ego version of me, to where
Marquette,
it kind of took me out of the moment. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It kind of took me out of the moment. So I kind of remember stuff, but it was kind of a blur. But like when I played in the XFL, one of the coolest things I've ever experienced in my career, punting the ball period, was playing in St. Louis. Every time I punted the ball in a game, I never heard a whole crowd just say boom. I've never heard that in my life. And I'm like, dang. And in any other stadium that we play in, you never hear any other fans do that in the XFL. But in St. Louis, they did that. And I'm like, dang, like, this is actually cool. Like, I don't even know how to express how I felt or feel. And it's still surprising to hear that. Even when you watch the TV copy of the game, you can still hear the whole crowd and the fans just yell, boom. It's so tight.
Wow. So it's kind of like everybody was literally with you. Like, as you're kicking the ball, they were
just hear boom. I'm like, at first the coaches kind of thought it was gonna bother me, and I was like, nothing bothers me. Like, I'm so busy living life and just enjoying everything. Like, I can't. It's no way I can get it distracted. Nothing can distract me at all, because I don't know. I feel like when I focus for real too hard, that's when I get distracted. And that's when I mess up.
And it's interesting because you said you had anxiety, but then you said that nothing really does affect you and you can't get distracted. And that's kind of an odd balance when you think about it. Like, once you get in that moment when you are just playing and you're not thinking about anything, And I honestly remember, like, I have moments looking back on my soccer career when I know people are like, why'd you shoot that? Why'd you do that? I'm like, I don't even remember doing it. Like, I watch myself. I'm like, that's me. I scored that goal. I got whatever, but I don't remember doing it. It just happened, and those are the best moments, I feel like, as an athlete, when you are just going, you're just playing, you're caught up in the moment. So it's an interesting mentality change of anxiety, being in the moment where you don't really know what's going on. You hear the crowd, you're just going.
Exactly.
And then also nothing distracting you or bothering you, like that transition. That's interesting that you mentioned that. Did you have a pregame or a specific way that you would go about kind of getting in the zone to shake that anxiety so that when you did step on the field, you weren't nervous or anything like that?
I made sure I didn't have a consistent routine. I don't believe in routines. I don't believe in what do you call them things?
Superstitions.
What is it?
Superstitions.
I don't believe in no superstitions, no routines. I just do. The only thing I do is I walk back and forth on the football field twice. And that's it. Because if you feel like you got to do the same thing over and over, then what happens when you have an off day? What happens when you don't do something the same way you did before? So I've never done the same things. Like, I always change my routines. So
wow, I was so superstitious. So superstitious. Like, when I tell you, I had to put on each cleat a certain, like, from the morning. It probably started the night before. Like, I was like so focused. I couldn't do too much. I had to like lay low the night before. I couldn't be out and about. I had to like chill. The morning of, I had to have like a certain food. Like, I couldn't eat too much. I always had like whatever our pregame meal was, didn't matter. I always had to have like a PB&J, a granola bar, some fruit. Couldn't have anything else. Couldn't be too full. Couldn't be too hungry.
What kind of jelly?
Grape jelly.
Grape?
The grape jelly, of course. Not the strawberry jelly or any of that fake jelly.
Okay,
the real jelly.
We just making sure.
The real and the not any creamy. Not creamy. The chunky peanut butter.
Yeah.
I do like chunky peanut butter, but not on my pregame peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
No, because then that's a distraction right there.
That's a distraction. I had to listen to the same. Like, I had my playlist. I was always a big dancer, but if I danced too much, there was like a fine balance.
Yeah.
If I danced too much, I was probably gonna have a bad game. If I didn't dance enough, I was probably gonna have a bad game. Cleats, everything had to be put on a certain way. Oh yeah. Even going down to like going to the bathroom, my pregame, all of that was very specific. So I was kind of relieved when I stopped playing. So I was like, I no longer have to do these superstitions.
Man, I feel that. I for sure feel that.
That's interesting. You don't have any. I feel like you would have, but okay. So now that you are playing in the XFL, you've had the chance to play in the XFL. The league did shut down. Have you heard any updates on anything? Like, what's next for you? What's really going on?
Right now I'm just working hard. I'm actually got a camp or some work to do with Coach Kicking. They were one of the first people that reached out and took me under their wing as far as showing me how to kick a ball the correct way. So Jamie Cole's out here right now, and I got to link up with him tomorrow and Sunday. So we'll get some work in, chart. But other than that, just training. I'm just training, just trying to be the best because I know for a fact I'm going to get another shot. I know I'm going to get another shot. Just waiting, just training. So.
Yeah. Honestly, it is crazy the stories that you hear, the different paths that people have taken in and out of the league. I don't think enough really understand just how unpredictable it is in the NFL. I know we were just hearing the news that J.J. Watt went out of Houston. Of course, Deshaun Watson went out. There's been the question about, like, why is one out but not the other? Why did J.J. Watt get easily a mutually parted ways and not Deshaun Watson? There's so many aspects to it because it is a business. But at the root of this business are you guys, players. And you don't have these same opportunities to really always get to step up into whatever that job is for you to be on a team. So it is kind of crazy, but it's a shame. And I think it's just great to hear, unfortunate, but I think it's great for people to hear your story and knowing that you could be leading the league and then a few years later be out of the league. It's just that, it's that fast in this business. So being that there have only been 5 Black punters in the NFL, which I still can't even wrap my head around. 5 guys, 5 fingers, 5 punters. You know, how are you really working to help give back? I know you've been so active this last week. I jokingly called it like your PR tour, but you really have been very actively speaking up on this. And I don't think enough people actually realize that. I know I didn't until you started bringing some notoriety around the fact that there've only been 5. What has your work been behind the scenes to really show that there are more talented punters and there needs to be more across all racial backgrounds that are given an opportunity?
I mean, I think one of the main things is, especially when I first became a Black punter, like some of the people, especially at Fort Valley State, like you would get joked on about being a punter or a kicker. Like, a lot of people don't usually see Black punters and kickers as punters and kickers because Black people are usually used to being receivers, cornerbacks, safeties, other positions. So that's one of the main reasons. It's definitely rare, but it is some talented Black punters out there. You got Corey Carter, Vet Vic. You definitely got some talented Black punters out there. So, and Corliss. So, I mean, they just got to get a shot. And I feel like, I mean, it's definitely hard for a lot of young kids to want to be punters and kickers to start because they're afraid for people to joke on them or make fun of them or whatever. So I don't know, the little advice that I usually give some of the younger minorities is shut all the noise out. Don't listen to people and just continue doing what makes you happy. Like, you don't live life for other people. You live life for you and basically people. You know what I mean, that's the reason you live life for you and people learn from watching you.
Amen to that. Gotta cancel out the noise. I know that is the hardest thing. I was just having this time on a show I was on yesterday evening and about the fact that because we live in such a social media heavy world, everybody's so caught up in doing everything for validation. Posting, get a certain amount of likes, you have to have a certain amount of followers, everything is to be validated, but the validation comes from you. You shouldn't be seeking that from other people. The moment you start looking for others, it's too late. You've lost it. It's not going to happen. And that's something I'm sure that, especially being in the NFL and being a professional athlete, you have to really keep yourself grounded in that and knowing that you can't get caught up. You have to remain humble. You have to remain humble and hungry because the moment you lose yourself, you know, it changes everything.
Exactly.
So Mike Patton with a comment and loved watching you punt and play, and you should be in the NFL right now, in his opinion. And Mike agree. But we're gonna get you back.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna. How long has it been? Let's backtrack here.
It's been one season and 3/4 of a season. I got hurt in the 4th game of the season with the Broncos and couldn't play the rest of that. And then the next season didn't get hit up. So.
Wow, there it is.
Yeah.
That's really not that long, but every day you're not in the league, I'm sure you're itching to get back to it.
I know. I still get young though, so I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Starting with the Raiders. A specific player that you enjoyed playing with the most. Go.
Who was that? Janikowski, probably. Sebastian Janikowski was one of my favorite ones to hang around.
Why?
He's just different. I like this mindset. One thing I admired about him was his mindset. His mindset was, I'm that guy. Nobody's better than me. And you can just, I don't know, every time you was around him, you just felt that same vibe. And it was like, man, all right, well, I need to be like that and I'll be good. And then, like, that's one of the main things I picked up from him, too. So, and he's just a funny, he comes off as like this tough, hard-shelled guy, but he's a good guy, and he's funny. He's funny without being funny, kind of like a Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is one of those people that's funny without being funny. So
those are always the funniest people, the ones that are not trying to be funny, but they are hilarious. Whatever they say, or it's how they say it, it's how they do it. It's so funny. Okay, what about your least favorite player to play against? someone that got under your skin, whether it was the way they were trash talking, the way they were, their celebrations, any of that? Do you have a player that, and not in a bad way, but you just were like,
no.
this guy again?
Maybe a Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is one of the fastest people I've ever seen. Yeah. He's one of the fastest people I've ever seen run in person in an actual football game. And man, it's like I hated going against him because sometimes some of my coaches would talk to me about like changing the way I kick, flip-flopping the ball to where it wouldn't go as far, but it would just go high and short. And I'm like, dang, all this leg, coach, like let me just swing away and like pin him in the corner. But did what we had to do. But that dude's fast.
So how would you kick against a player like that? Like what's the
I mean, the goal would just be to hit it as high and as short as possible.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I feel like Tyreek Hill definitely is one of the he reminds me, he's a great player, of course. But he reminds me of that player that's just always there, that like always is all over the place. And yeah, I could see that. I could see that. He's hard to catch, so I get that.
He's a beast.
He is really good. He's very good. So let's get into coaches. Who was a coach that you had in the course of your career that was the most influential in helping you learn more about yourself or get to that next level or just even grow as a person?
Man, I would say that's hard because I've had, man, that is hard. That is actually a really hard question because I've had, my favorite coach so far probably was Steve Hoffman and Brad Seeley.
Okay.
It's hard to like just call one out because even the coaches that I probably didn't, I probably didn't see on that same scale that much. They helped me in some kind of way too. So it's kind of like, I don't know. That's a really hard question.
I get that. There's been a lot of coaches over the years, and they all help in a different way. Okay, fair enough. So we've talked about you having that work through of anxiety to being in the zone to being able to just play. Did you have a specific song or specific any hype music that when you heard that you went into Marquette mode? And
let me see. I'm a little different. So like I used to listen to video game music. As weird as that sounds.
What?
Yeah.
Like Mario Brothers? Or like Mario Brothers, or more like
so
Call of Duty
race car game. Heck no, not no Call of Duty music. That's like some violins and everything.
I don't know. I mean, you just said video. There's a lot of video games out there.
No, it's this game called Ridge Racer. They used to have some really good music on it. Like it was different. It was like different. So, I listened to the music from Ridge Racer. You might not like it. It's a different kind of music.
I like one to hear this.
Calvin Harris, just because, I don't know, that kind of music makes me feel like it's summertime, makes me feel like day party vibes, like it's super fire. So it gives me, I don't know, I like day parties. I like Vegas vibes. I like red wine. I like having fun. So it just made me think about all that in one song.
So I'm sure you were pretty bummed when the Raiders moved to Vegas after your time there then.
Man, I know. Cali vibes.
Man,
man. Oakland, that whole city was fire.
Yeah, but it's not Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, but I've heard great things, obviously.
You've never been to Vegas?
I've never been to Vegas. Nope.
Whoever's watching this live stream right now, y'all please help her out. Please.
You can donate to my GoFundMe. I'm taking any donation.
Well, sure. Look, we're going to have to set that up there because you need to go to Vegas. I give you like 2 days. I don't know if I can handle Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Everybody says the time, it can't be more than like 4 days.
No, because then you'll be mad at the world for no reason.
I don't know if my liver can handle Vegas. Not now. Maybe like a few years ago. I'm getting a little old now. Okay, so you talk about Oakland being a great city, of course, Vegas. Do you have a city that you remember playing in that you loved playing in the most? for whatever reason?
Man, I think my favorite stadium to play in was the Cowboy Stadium because it was like a gigantic like gentleman's club. Maybe you got the dancers on like every other pole dancing at the top of the thing. So like I run out the punt and I'm just looking up like, God dang, it's a vibe. So like Jerry Jones for sure know how to live. So, but other than that, the Oakland Raiders Stadium was so fire because it was just, I don't know, you got the ocean nearby, then you got the whole Bay Area, like the vibe. The Bay itself was just a whole vibe. So I don't know, those two stadiums were my favorite stadiums.
You know, it's not at all the reason I expected you to say any stadium was your favorite because you felt like you were at a gentleman's club. You look forward to being able to run on the field and just see it winning all over the place. I don't know how to take that, but that was not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking you were going to say like the crowd. Okay, the weather is a reason. You talk about Oakland having the Bay, you know, everything's right there. I was thinking like great weather, or it was like an exciting stadium. The fans were always into it, or that was when I tell you, I was
fire.
not expecting
you got that going on. Then as you go through the tunnel, like you got the bar right beside you. So if you want to just run in real quick and get you a quick sip.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I love it. All right. That is hilarious. You know what? They set it up. It's a business. It's a business. And they know how to cater to their customers. Apparently,
exactly.
Too. Who's the best locker room guy? Like that guy that when you got done listening to him speak, you could go run to a brick wall. You were just so hyped. You were so ready to go. He knew what to say or how to say it and delivered like those great inspirational type messages.
Man, to be honest, I kind of blocked that out too because I feel like as a punter and as a kicker, you got to kind of like stay on this. So like, I know I get hyped and I get turned up, but that's the normal me. And if I hear somebody, I used to get into that like in college, but I can't listen to the chatter. Like I just stay in my own little world. So I just kind of think about stuff that makes me happy, like music or probably what I'm gonna do later on at night. Where am I gonna go later on at night? Like, I don't know. I just try to think about things that make me happy because I just can't get too hyped or I get thrown off the whole game.
Your vibe is definitely different. I'm picking up on that. Picking up on it. I remember the people like you in the locker room.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
I used to be so mad at people like you in the locker room that had no pregame routine. They could do whatever. They were just chilling. And then I was there like doing every little thing that I had to do. Like, yeah, I see what kind of player you were in the locker room.
Yeah, see, I mean, the only thing you can only control what you can control. So the only thing that you can control is just the amount of work that you put in throughout the week. Once you get to that day that you can actually play, if you feel like you got to do certain stuff that day and you don't believe in all the work you put in the last couple of days, you're gonna pretty much be in trouble.
What are you saying about people with superstitions?
I mean,
taking that personal now.
That's just me. I'm just saying, like, that's what it ultimately comes down to.
I'm very retired, so no hard feelings there. No hard feelings at all. It's been some years now. What is it, 2021? It's been about 5 years. It has been more than 5 years. Well, actually, wow. Math.
Wow.
8 years, actually. Can I still kick? No, actually. It's crazy because I stopped playing in 2014. And the slow decline just was out of this world. Like leg muscles don't exist anymore. So I used to be able to strike the ball all different ways, shoot from anywhere. Now, when I tell you I'm so washed up, I still can use the same form, but it's probably going to be this like nothing.
You probably need like 2-3 weeks. You'll get it back. It's like riding a bike.
I don't know. We'll see about that. But honestly, this has been a great conversation. You've been making me feel pretty bad about my superstitions, feeling pretty old and washed up, feeling pretty bad that I've never been to Vegas. So it's been great. But other than that, as we talk about what's not, this has been a very odd time between COVID, the way that the NFL still was able to play a season, and they did get through it, but it was very unique. The XFL getting shut down, a lot of changes going on right now. So, you know, for you, as you're trying to step into that next chapter, whatever that may be, you know, what can we expect from you? What are you doing right now towards that next chapter?
Like I said, I'm training. I don't think I don't really see it as a next chapter. I see it as what is it? Maybe what do you call a break in between the plays? Like a
timeout? Like it's been almost like a timeout?
No, it's not a timeout. They use it like in plays when you're watching a play, and it's like a little gap of time when you got a little time to run to the restroom, get water, whatever.
Oh, and play. Oh, intermission.
Yeah. So
I thought you meant like football plays. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, I thought you meant football plays, and I'm like, dang, I don't know that term.
Come on.
But plays like Broadway, yeah.
Nah, basically, still the same chapter, just the intermission, and I'm coming back stronger than ever. I'm gonna be, when I get back, I will be known as the best punter in the NFL. Other than that, just working on my music stuff, and that's blowing up too. Because I feel like athletes, they should get praised for other things that they do. And if it's an athlete out there not working on any other things besides just football or just basketball or just soccer or whatever, once you get out the game, you will go down some kind of slope. Whether you're hurt and you got to sit out for a little bit, life's gonna hit you a little bit different. And if you don't have anything else to entertain you or have anything else in the works, you're gonna kind of be in trouble, because some people can't get out of that once they get trapped in it. And so that's one thing I believe in, is just finding ways to better yourself and find other projects that you can do to keep your mind and your wheels twisting.
It is something about that decline when you go from having, especially because you've been playing for so long, so you're used to the schedule and like the adrenaline rush and the excitement and the training. Physically, your body's just used to going, and then all of a sudden you get to retire, and it's more like this. It's not like a slope. It's more like it's just a quick drop off. When it, like, I actually remember, like, wow, I don't actually have to work out. I don't actually have to go to work, train for fitness test or any of that. I can actually go to the gym and do like real work, like yoga and stuff like that, like for fun, I should say. It's definitely that your yoga.
Warrior two pose.
Okay. It's so different. So you talk about diversifying yourself. That's something that I always am a big advocate for. Not putting all your eggs in one basket. You can't. The whole concept of like, if you try to do too much, you're gonna like stretch yourself too thin. I think there's boundaries to it. I think there's like a gray area in there.
For sure.
So you've been working on music, and you talk about encouraging others to diversify themselves in that way. Are you video game music? What are you working on?
You funny. No, it's more like dance, house, EDM, and maybe a little bit of hip hop. But it's fun because it's kind of, I don't know, I like being creative with stuff. So music's one of the main things I like to be creative with. Got a couple of music videos. Like, it's fun, super fun to do.
What's your music name going to be? Are you going to just be
Marquette King?
You're just gonna be Marquette
I was
King.
thinking about an alias name, but I was like, man, I feel like I worked so hard with the name that I got. Like, I feel like if I make an alias name, I'm hiding from something. Like,
that's true.
That's my real name.
That's true. Okay. You are, and I've said this before, which is crazy. You don't know what Tory Lanez, although I'm not a big Tory Lanez fan anymore. But Quarantine Radio, like, you're already giving me studio vibes there. Like, I feel like you're already in the studio.
We got the drum set?
Actual instruments. Do you play the drums and all that too?
Oh yeah, come on now. It's like a little tiny desk concert.
Wait a minute. You play all those instruments? You can play the drums and piano?
I'm better at piano than I am with the drums. I still gotta work on the drums. Guitar, I just got that, so I gotta learn how to do it.
Multi-talented, impressive.
Yeah.
So I mean, you were already giving me studio vibes. I feel like we're on a versus right now, and you're ready. We're ready to go. I love it. Definitely give me quarantine radio versus vibes right now. Okay. I see what you're doing there. So when's the album dropping?
Oh, it's some stuff that's already dropped.
What? You're holding out on us here.
Spotify, Apple, it's all out. Pandora, even follow the Pandora station. It's just Marquette King Radio. So, and the cool thing about it, it has different vibes. You can go from like EDM dance to hip hop, back to EDM dance to pop. Like, it's so cool how it just bounces around. Because you get tired of hearing the same genre all the time.
Yeah, that's true. You're all about the vibes. Yeah. Picking up on what you're putting down. Wow, I didn't realize you had so many things going on. It's definitely great to see how you are using your platform in so many different ways to inspire, to career, to be able to do so many incredible different things. I'm excited to hear your music, though. That I'm looking forward to.
I appreciate you.
So thank you so much for taking time to join us here on Beyond the Headlines. It's been a pleasure, Marquette King, guys, not Marquette King. It's been a pleasure having a chance to talk to you, learn more about your background, your career, and I'm excited to see what's next for you because I think there's nothing but great things to come. And I will tell you, there has been a lot of positive effects. A lot of people that have come on my show within like blowing up. Like I actually had a guest on, and then he was just performing at the Super Bowl at the halftime show. Well, it was the weekend, clearly. No, it was one of his back weekends. Clearly this weekend. It was one of his many days. You probably saw him. Red jacket, white, he had one of the white masks on. He was one of them.
I think I had so much wine.
He was that guy. I think you probably saw him. But all jokes aside, it's great to see former guests that are now killing it. And I think you're going to join that group and do really well. So I'm excited to see you back in the NFL. It's time. It's been long enough. Time for you to get back. So shout out where people can follow you, where they can check out your music, what you've got going on. They can keep up to date when you are back in the NFL or speaking it into existence. When Marquette King is back in the NFL.
Man, it's going to happen really soon. Social media links, Marquette King, Pandora, Spotify, Apple, Marquette King. That easy.
Wow. Consistent. I like it. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. It's been great having you here. And when you make it get back into the NFL, I should say, don't forget about us. Don't forget about us little people here.
I got you.
Thank you so much. And for those of you that are listening, as always, you can catch Beyond the Headlines each and every week. We're writing new episodes. We've got a live interview also on Tuesday with Cheyenne Parker from the WNBA. We're doing big things. It's only up from here. And same for us, as goes for Marquette King, as we are out. Thank you so much again.